Welcome everybody back to another round of Japan's Champions League in the E-Block format with Scarlet and Violet Legal. We have, it looks like maybe another Lost box, Giratina Mirror. I do see, I think, Grass Energy and Water Energy here on the left, so I do believe that this may in fact be a Giratina deck on the left, and we know it's a Giratina deck on the right because they started Giratina. Giratina is a very popular deck in Japan. Oh yes, we do see the alternate art Comfey come down from this Battle VIP pass. Of course, since we've started the Radiant Greninja, as I always say, we're going to be going for the double Comfey. We want to be getting as many cards into the Lost Zone as fast as possible. That is always what you want to do with any sort of Lost Box deck. Looks like both of these players are 2-0 here, unlike the last round where it showed a couple of 1-1s for some reason on the mainstream. This is the backup one because they have two different pods in this tournament, kind of like our international championships. When there are a lot of players, they will pod out. Usually NAIC will have two pods of 500 plus. I think that they personally should be potting regionals at this point if we're going to have attendance in the 1200s. If we're going to have international NAIC numbers at just a random regular regional in like Knoxville and stuff, then we should be podding for that as well. We might even have 3 pods at NAIC if things go the way that I think they will. They'll probably just do 2 pods, but I think they should do 3. It's like personal opinion. We are going to get some Comfeys down. Looks like we don't have any sort of switching cards, so we are just passing here. We are going to heavy ball here on the right side, the Hisuian heavy ball, not to be confused with the heavy ball of old that searched for a Pokemon that was fat with a 3 retreat cost. But it looks like we are using the Hisuian heavy ball that can stealthily get a Pokemon out of those prize cards. And yes, that red marker with the Japanese text that is above the prize card does tell which player is going second. So that is a reminder to, like, not, you know, draw your card and play first, I suppose. But it's pretty cool that they do that. We are seeing the Battle VIP pass from the player on the right as well. We are going for the double Comfey. As always, you love to see the double Comfey or the Radiant Greninja Comfey. And we are seeing a Nest Ball as well. Would love to see that Radiant Greninja come out now. Should it not be prized, at least. But we did see the heavy ball, so I would have thought that he would have gotten that off the prizes if they were in there. We are going to Nest Ball for another Giratina V. Looks like a lot of these Japanese players do prefer to play the older, or the newer art of the Giratina, the one that we got in tins that they got in a reprint set. Looks like we are going to play Switch, going to Flower Selecting with our first Comfey here. Lost Zoning a Nest Ball. Guess we don't need that at this point. We are pretty well set up. If we don't have access to Radiant Greninja, we might as well just get rid of that anyway. We are going to switch Cart to go into this next Comfey. We have to choose between these 2 energies. I think the Water Energy is safer to Lost Zone because that is not the one that you need in order to attack with Giratina. And here is the Radiant Greninja. We are going to see the discard of that Psychic Energy we got off the last Flower Selecting, and we will draw 2. Looks like we were waiting to bench that Greninja until we had the energy card in hand, which is an interesting decision. I personally would have just benched it. Don't know if that is necessarily correct or not. Maybe he thinks his opponent is going to Boss's Orders turn 1 and knock it out somehow. I don't know. But we are going to see another Battle VIP pass here that will allow us to get at a maximum of 1 Pokemon more down to the bench. Looks like we are going to go for another Comfey. If we have another switching card, we can go into that. Or if we have the Beach Court Stadium, that does allow you to have 1 less retreat cost on your basic Pokemon. So the Comfey will be able to retreat for free. But nope, looks like we do not have that out, so we are just going to pass the turn from here. I think that is perfectly fine. We got to straighten out those Pokemon though, because that Comfey is not actually paralyzed. And it looks like the player on the left has absolutely nothing, no way to move Pokemon, no supporters, no nothing. So we are just going to pass turn back to the player on the right. We are going to go for the Colress's Experiment. Gonna Lost Zone 2 cards and keep 3. out of the top 5 of the deck. Looks like we're going to Lost Zone another Colress's Experiment, so this hand must be stacked at this point. Oh, even see another Colress's Experiment off the top here, along with, I think it's a Giratina V-Star. So it's a real interesting decision on whether or not you want to really Lost Zone this many Colress's. Looks like we are going to Lost Zone the Giratina V-Star. We'll probably still have access to 2 more in this game anyway. You've already seen all of your prize cards, so you know what are in there. So we do evolve into a Giratina V-Star, so we'd still have that. So we will have to protect this particular Giratina V-Star now that we've evolved. It would not have been wrong to hold that V-Star in hand in case one of these Giratinas does end up getting bossed up and hit with a Cramorant. But your opponent has, I believe, 0 cards in the Lost Zone. Yeah, this guy has 5. But the other person does have 0. They have no Lost Zone counter like this one does behind my head here. Looks like we finally get an energy card, so we're going to use that to retreat the Greninja. We are going to Flower Selecting. Not the best choice here. We're going to have to Lost Zone a Mirage Gate. That is fine since you have to do that in order to get going. We do get an energy card off of that Flower Selecting, so we can discard that with the Greninja to draw 2. And, oh, there is the Colress's Experiment. We are finally able to play the game. Looks like we see at least 3 switching options off of this. So we could always Lost Zone the other 2 and just start spreading our Comfeys around. I think Lost Zoning one of the switch cards is fine because you still only have 1 more Comfey in play. So how many more Comfeys are you realistically going to be using this turn? So we are going to see the switch into the Comfey. Flower Selecting. Another Mirage Gate in this is a little unfortunate. What is that other card? Is that a Giratina V-Star? I can't tell. But now we have 2 Mirage Gates in the Lost Zone. And we are at the point where we can attack with Cramorant. We can actually take the first prize should we have another switching card, but we already know we were able to get 2 switching cards off of the Colress's Experiment at minimum. So we do have the switch. We do go into the Cramorant. We have exactly 4 in the Lost Zone. We can use Spit Innocently for free because of the ability of the Cramorant having 4 cards in the Lost Zone. So we do take that knockout. And surprisingly, the person who bricked 2 turns in a row has the first knockout. Or, yeah, 1 turn, I guess, in a row. Just 1 turn. Because the first turn, he got a whole bunch of Pokemon in play, so can we really call that a brick? He just didn't have the switching card to go into a Comfey for 2 turns. The suboptimal start, we'll call it that. So we are seeing yet another Colress's Experiment here. We are going to be going to 7 cards now in the Lost Zone for this player on the right. As you can see behind my head, I will just have to keep moving my head because I don't want to move my face cam. I like where it is. There are now 8 with this Flower Selecting. We are going to Lost Zone a Boss's Orders this time. We are going to use Concealed Cards, discard an energy to draw 2 cards. We've got a fairly sizable hand at this point. Along with a sizable Lost Zone. So what else are we going to do from here? If we have a switching card, we can go into Cramorant and just do the same thing as the opponent just did. So yeah, we do have an escape rope, so now the opponent has to choose. If I were them, I would put up the Radiant Greninja. Well, I guess it depends on what's in hand. I guess he just wants to sacrifice the Comfey, will allow his opponent to take a prize card. I don't like that. I would have put up the Radiant Greninja personally. Just because that is able to survive an attack and is not a 2-prize Pokemon. Looks like we are going to attach an energy for a turn here onto this second Giratina. Spreading out the energy a little bit. Judges just making sure that Lost Zone pile looks pretty good. lot of these Japanese players like to attach the energy at the bottom, which is a little weird to me because the way they designed the cards has the little pip on the top right corner to show what the energy is. So if you attach it from the top like that, it shows that. So just a little bit of a gripe, personally. Because you can see the energy symbol that way. Whereas if you do it from the bottom, unless you show that much of the card like they're showing, you don't get to see what type of energy it is if you were to be, say, colorblind. Looks like we are just passing over here. Player on the left goes for the flower selecting Lost Zones. A water energy goes for a nest ball now, is going to be able to grab yet another Comfey. Perfectly unfazed by the fact that one of their Comfeys got knocked out in the previous turn. We are going to switch card into that Comfey that we just got. Use that one's flower selecting. We're going to go to 6 cards in the Lost Zone. Ooh, we have to make another decision. We already have a grass and a water in the Lost Zone. We have to Lost Zone a second water. That is not ideal. Now it's going to be very unlikely that you will be able to attack with Greninja during this game, and you would love to see a Greninja knock out 2 Comfeys simultaneously. So we are going to also retreat the Comfey, discarding that grass energy to do that. And we are going to spit innocently onto the Spit Innocently Cramorant. Spitting not so innocently left and right here. Also, this is like the 3rd Giratina player I've seen that is playing in Giratina sleeves. So really just showing your opponent what you're playing before you even sit down at the table, I suppose, is very odd. I wouldn't want to reveal any extra information to my opponent. I would only play Giratina sleeves if I wasn't playing Giratina. Although they're Pokemon brand sleeves, and I hate Pokemon brand sleeves. The Japanese ones are a lot better than the English ones, but they're still not good in my opinion. Only will ever use Dragon Shields and Ultimate Guards are my 2 sleeves of choice. Alright, so we are thankfully not punished for Lost Zoning that one Giratina V-Star earlier in the game. We now have double Giratina V-Star in play. Looks like since a knockout was taken, we are able to Raihan now. We are going to get a Water Energy onto this active Greninja. Search our deck for any one card, which will most likely be the Mirage Gate if we don't already have it. We will be able to Mirage Gate to the Greninja and knock out both Comfeys simultaneously to go up into the prize lead. So you are going to hope that your opponent is not able to get an additional card in the Lost Zone, Mirage Gate, and evolve into a Giratina V-Star, and then bosses orders up your Giratina V-Star and knock it out. That would be the punish for this play. I guess you could get Rock Sand here too, but I wouldn't be worried about Rock Sand in my personal opinion here. You are leaving the Cramorant up. You're making sure there's no Comfeys in play to be able to get that additional card in the Lost Zone, and there are already 2 Mirage Gates in the Lost Zone. Always love to see this Greninja attack here in this deck. So we are going to go for the knockout here, knocking out 2 of those Alt Art Comfeys, those very beautiful Crown Zenith Art Comfeys. And now, what is that Cramorant going to do? Attack into a Greninja? No, you need to go for a boss's orders play this turn in order to keep on pace. Otherwise, you're just hitting 110 into a 1-prizer that doesn't get knocked out. So you can really see, if you play it the right way, how these Greninjas can really just swing matchups in your favor. We do see a double evolution to Golden Giratina V-Stars. The question is, do we have a Chorus's Experiment in order to get some more cards in the Lost Zone? Looks like this player is thinking quite a bit here. We still have 10 minutes left in the match. We haven't seen any ties yet. I do believe that in Japan, if you were to tie, both players are awarded a loss. If no player wins, you just lose. I do like that a lot better than our current rules, personally. However, still not perfect. I think that we should just do away with ties and go by prizes in best of 3. But best of 1 format is starting to grow on me. A lot of my win-a-boxes that are around me are best of 1, and I originally did not like it. But, I mean, I did win the last one, and I've gotten top 4 at quite a few, so it is starting to grow on me. Starting to grow on me. We do see the Roxanne is being played here. We are going to both shuffle our hands into our decks. We're going to call how many we're going to cut. And then the player who played it draws 6. The player who did not play it draws 3. You can only play that card if your opponent is at 3 or less prize cards remaining. So if they're halfway to a game win by prizes, of course. Looks like we are going to attach a Psychic Energy for turn, so it looks like we are not going to be attacking with our own Greninja. Would have loved to see an attack with Greninja this turn, but of course you would be utilizing one of your last 2 Mirage Gates in order to do that. So you can't really afford to do that in this game. We do put down a Temple of Sinnoh, immediately Lost Vacuum it away. Lost Zoning your own. Cyrus's Boss's Orders full art. Love that art. Cyrus is a cool enemy from the video games, a cool bad guy boss, if you will. That will be coming out in those milk cartons, just like Marnie and Professor Juniper in the past. The Professor Juniper Professor's Research card, I should say. So we are going to just hit for 110. We pass to our opponent, who is able to retreat into Comfey. Flower selecting. Looks like we're getting Sableye and Switch off of these 2. We're going to Lost Zone the Switch. We should have another switching card in hand since we've done that. We really don't want to get rid of the Sableye, so we want to keep that for the turn that we have 10 cards in the Lost Zone. But there's also not a lot of Pokemon that your opponent has in play that you really benefit from attacking with Sableye onto. So we're going to switch card into the next Comfey. We will Flower selecting yet again. I think, yes, getting rid of the Hisuian Heavy Ball is perfect. You only have 3 prize cards remaining. At this point, you should definitely know what are in your prize cards. Except in Japan format, you don't usually check your prize cards because, you know, it takes too long and you only have 25 minutes for a single game. So we do use Radiant Greninja's ability, Concealed Cards, to discard a Grass Energy and draw 2 more. And we are going to play a Colress's Experiment that looks like we just got off of that. Look at the top 5, Lost Zone 2, that Battle VIP Pass is an easy choice. So is that Nest Ball, in all honesty. We are able to get a couple of Mirage Gates off of this. So the thing is, can we switch into Greninja? I would not mind seeing another attack with Greninja here. You could soften up both of those Giratina Vs, but I think it would actually be a lot better to attack with the Giratinas, right? Because you are 3 prize cards away from winning. So long as you set up one of your Giratina V-Stars, you might be able to take 2 knockouts with that, going down to 0 prize cards remaining. So looks like we are Mirage gating. Only 1 energy into play. That's very unfortunate. Hopefully we have an energy recycler. And no, just a pass. So it looks like this opponent here on the right hand side does not really have much left in the deck. The deck is very small here at this point. Has 12 cards in the Lost Zone. Way more than enough to be able to Mirage gate as many times as you want. But if you don't have the energy to do it, this gives your opponent the opportunity to come back into this game. He has 2 Mirage Gates available to him because he did Lost Zone the first 2. So long as he has access to those, there is the other Mirage Gate in deck as well. We are playing this one. We're going to get 2 energies down on this Giratina, and we will be hopefully bosses ordering one of the Giratina V-Stars and knocking that out with either one of the attacks here. Looks like we are going to spread those energies out. We can always also attach for turn as well. We are just going to take the knockout with Cramorant. That's not the worst. You are going to even up the prizes here. you're going to force your opponent into going up with the Giratina V-Star. But, of course, they have the boss's orders. They're going to pick off the Giratina that has the grass energy on it, the one that is capable of attacking. The attack cost of the V-Star power attack is grass colorless, and the other attack is is grass psychic, and then the other attack is grass psychic colorless. So you do need a grass energy to attack with either one of these attacks. And since the opposing player here had the boss's orders, they are just steamrolling this game here. We just need one energy to be attached to the active here from the player on the right in order to just win the game outright. And this player on the left is getting really punished for lost zoning that boss's orders with the Lost Vacuum a couple of turns ago. Because if we were able to boss's orders on this previous turn, move our active Pokemon out of the way, Mirage Gate to one of the Giratinas, and then take the knockout on their Giratina here on the right, that would have been a lot better of a play. You could have knocked out this one that has the grass energy on it. Looks like we are going to Raihan so that we can get the attack off this turn. Do like to see that. But it will basically come down to if our player on the right has access to enough energy in deck to use the final Mirage Gate that we already know is in hand in order to get the energies onto this last Giratina V-Star. Ooh, this player can also use the Sableye as well. And you can knock out Manaphy and Greninja at the same time, taking 2 prize cards that way as well. Or the Comfey and the Greninja. That's just as good. So there is a route in sight between these, so you're just going to really have to hope your opponent does not get this second Giratina V-Star charged up. So this is the closest game, in my opinion, that we have seen so far. Looks like we are going to use the V-Star power attack to take the knockout here, leaving us with energy still left on so that we can take the last prize on any of the Pokemon that are in play. And even if we don't, we may just see maybe another Raihan to get this Sableye charged up and then win the game. We'll have to see. So it looks like we do see an energy get Mirage Gated to the Comfey that is active. The Sableye comes up, and we only need one more prize card to win the game. So we take out the Sableye. That was extremely close. That really did come down to who had what. The opponent on the right did run out of a lot of resources during that game, but was still managed to was still able to successfully manage to pilot the deck to a victory, navigate all the way through all of those unfortunate circumstances that he was in. The player on the left really got punished from those first couple of turns where they did not have switch cards in order to go into the Comfeys to flower selecting. So very close game. Both players played it very well. The only thing I didn't like was the lost zoning of the boss's orders on the left, and then the potential mismanaging of energy from the right. I'm not sure if he really mismanaged energy or if it just came down to him not having it. But anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed. Do not forget to do all that comment, liking, and subscribing. If you've been watching all of my videos, I must sound like a broken record at this point, so just do it. Don't let your dreams be dreams. And we will see you guys next time.